CineFestival is the oldest Latino film festival in the United States. That is not only significant for San Antonio, but for the Latino culture in general. It's unique in that most film festivals are usually genre-based productions, and you go to CineFestival and you get the gambit. You get animation, you get documentary, you get feature, you get shorts, you get student projects, and they're real supportive of the local scene and the student at the student level. It's great at an educational component, it's great at a city component, and it's great at a cultural component.
My name is Jim Mendiola. I am the director of San Antonio CineFestival. The theme this year for CineFestival is Where Movies Matter, and the idea is to remember that all films are political and that the origins of Chicano cinema were resistance cinema, and so it's through that lens that I sort of programmed most of the films that are shown. CineFestival is the longest running festival. It started in 1976. That was at the tail end of the height of the Chicano movement. And since we've been there since the beginning, we've seen all the developments that have happened. Latino filmmaking in San Antonio, the biggest secret is the first Chicano feature filmmaker is from San Antonio, and he made movies about San Antonio. That's a guy named Efrain Gutierrez, and he made a movie in the early 70s. He made 3 feature-length films. He wrote them, starred in them, produced them, distributed them, raised the money on his own, and they're amazing, amazing pieces, so historical pieces. And so we're the birth of Chicano feature-length film. And since that time, a lot of people have made movies, and they continue to.
My name is Laura Varela. I'm a documentary filmmaker. CineFestival has always been a home for me as a filmmaker. My whole filmmaking career, my first film in college was actually shown there, and this was back like in '93. And ever since then, every single project that I work on usually shows at the festival. Last year I had 2 short films. I had a music video, the Frida's Heart music video by the band Femina X, which I produced and co-directed with Daniela Rojas, and I had An Urban Revolution, which I directed. I also showed my PBS film, As Long As I Remember, American Veteranos. It showed at CineFestival as well. And that's a national project. It's been on PBS for 6 years through American Public Television.
Not my war. It is not my people's war. It was not America's war.
I feel like part of my life's mission is to tell our community stories. I feel like media is a tool that we can use for good. And I've always believed that. I believe it because it reaches a lot more people than sometimes any books or magazine articles or whatnot. So my kind of work that I do, I focus on my community, but these are very universal stories. And I feel that they need to be part of the national dialogue and canon in terms of like art and stories of a community that has always been here. So I think it's quite important that we remind people that we've been here, this is our land, this is our community, and our stories are also important.
In loud voices we must sing. Cantaremos porque silence means consent.
Film culture of San Antonio is changing. We have great crew here, we have great locations here, and we have a growing film culture here. And we have one of the cinema gems, the film festival that concentrates particularly on Latino-based projects right here in San Antonio, Texas. So film is growing, not only from a viewer standpoint, but from a worker standpoint.
I feel like San Antonio is on the verge of creating a sort of a community and city and collaborations with the city to where they're supporting feature filmmakers. There is a documentary community here that creates work for national audiences and international audiences, and it's educational, like it's into universities. It gets written about, you know, that kind of work is important. Even though all of my stories are not based out of San Antonio in Texas, I mean, I do other kind of work, but this is my hometown and this is where my heart is.
So you don't have to necessarily be in Los Angeles or New York to make good movies. You can do it from where you're at. And I think the biggest advantage we have is San Antonio has its own unique neighborhoods and people and way of speaking, and that's our advantage. And once we make movies about that, you know, people are going to recognize it and see it differently.